My girlfriend's bringing her husband to a party, but no one knows they're divorced.
Keeping up appearances. Messy, messy.
35 male, been with my girlfriend 44 female for 9 months. When we met, she was open about the fact that she had fully separated from her ex and that they would be starting official divorce proceedings. Those started around 1 month ago and are basically still in the early stages. By the way, this comes from Cute as Ducks, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Vincent.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. Yesterday, we were talking about work Christmas parties, and she told me her workplace was currently running a poll where the options were go alone, go with your partner, or say you're not going. When I asked what she was thinking of doing, she said she needed to talk to her ex-husband about it because she was going to take him if that option won. Her reason was that she didn't want to sit alone while everyone else was there with their spouses. Obviously, I reacted pretty badly to this. She said she couldn't bring me because nobody at her workplace knew about me or us. She had started her job about 3 months before we met. And everyone there was basically under the impression that she was still married, since that's how things had been when she joined. She said she didn't like people knowing her personal business, such as her separation or divorce, so she just went along with it. She said that bringing me would therefore be weird, and that she temporarily wanted everything to still look normal by bringing him. She said she couldn't bring me because nobody at her workplace knew about me or us. She had started her job about 3 months before we met, and everyone there was basically under the impression that she was still married, since that's how things had been when she joined. She said she didn't like people knowing her personal business, such as her separation or divorce, so she just went along with it. She said that bringing me would therefore be weird, and that she temporarily wanted everything to still look normal by bringing him. I questioned why she would need to go and pretend to essentially strangers. I told her she could easily just go on her own instead. And she told me I didn't understand how difficult it was for her. She said I was making it all about me by asking to be prioritized, which in my eyes was just basic consideration. She said I was acting irrational and jealous, and that she didn't have to run any of her decisions by me. She then started crying, hung up on me, and texted me to say she wanted space for a few hours. But she hasn't been in touch since, and that was 24 hours ago. I haven't reached out because I feel I haven't done anything wrong. I feel really horrible about her wanting to take him along so easily because it feels like she hasn't considered my feelings at all. We didn't have a conversation about it. She just told me her plan. To me, that feels a little disrespectful to me in our relationship. I know we've not been together for very long, so maybe I don't have the right to be involved in her decisions, but I would still expect to at least have a conversation about something that directly affects us. I also don't understand why she needs to pretend to people she doesn't really know, or why she couldn't have just used the opportunity to explain the situation. But I don't know if I'm being selfish like she said. Am I the a-hole? I've never been married, so I don't know if I've just majorly downplayed everything and been inconsiderate. Honestly, I appreciate everyone's advice and opinions. Comment 1 says, not the a-hole, this is a massive red flag. You're worried about reacting badly, but the real problem is that 9 months into a relationship, she is actively choosing to prioritize the appearance of an intact marriage over publicly acknowledging her actual relationship with you. She isn't worried about people knowing her business. She's worried about admitting she's moved on before the divorce is final, which suggests she is keeping open the option of reconciliation. The excuse that it would be weird to bring you, but normal to bring the man she's divorcing is absurd and deeply disrespectful to you. Demand honesty and transparency or walk away, because right now you are her secret and the ex is her preferred public face. Yeah. Oof.
I don't like that. Like she's trying to keep up appearances.
Yeah.
But like if the appearances aren't the truth, then what's it worth?
Exactly.
You know?
And she says, "Oh, I don't want people to know about my private life." Then why do you even care about lying to them? You don't owe him anything.
Yeah. Also, go alone. Go alone and tell people, yeah, I'm going through a divorce proceeding.
Yeah.
Like you don't need to hide You can if you don't want to tell people you've been dating someone for 9 months before you're getting a divorce.
Yeah.
Just go alone and be like, yeah, we're splitting.
Or even you just say, I'm here alone. Like, you don't even have to, like, if someone says, oh, is your husband couldn't make it or whatever, you're like, no.
Yeah, make up a lie.
Couldn't make it.
Say got in a car accident. Like, make it tragic. Get sympathy.
Yeah, and they're like, I'm so sorry. You're like, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't even want to talk about it.
I needed that. You might get a casserole out of it. People will feel sorry.
People always give casseroles.
Mm-hmm.
OP responds and clarifies the timeline of his relationship and how long the girlfriend had the job before meeting OP. OP says, glad you brought this up because, to be honest, I can't answer this either now that I think about it. From what she told me, the relationship had been basically done a good year before they separated. She started the job in October and they had separated before we began dating in January. So I guess maybe she talked about him in the crossover? OP responds to some comments about his girlfriend's motives to hold on to him and still not being over her ex-husband. OP says, just wanted to say thank you for this and for sharing your experience. Finally, this helps me understand what her motives or intentions might have been. She had a bad experience with the previous workplace and was out of work for quite some time, which left her scarred. She was constantly worrying the same thing would happen at this job. And it's a high-power role, so I can totally understand why she might have wanted to make out that everything was okay, like you did, so that personal issues couldn't be used against her. I guess if you're that scared, you would to some extent try to keep up the charade, especially because she's only been in the job a year, which isn't solid ground in our country. You need to be safe from sudden sackings. I just wish she'd explained that. If she had said, look, this is what I'm thinking of doing because right now it feels safer for me to make out that everything's fine so they don't think I'm distracted from my job since it's getting a bit meaty now, I would have understood.
That she's under?
Yeah.
But still, I feel like it would show more strength that, like, yeah, I'm facing this thing and I can still rock my job.
Like, if I was super stressed at work and we had, like, an event where I needed a +1, I'm not bringing my ex. Like, let's say, like, they didn't know that I had a new boyfriend. I'm not bringing my ex.
Also, imagine if that went wrong.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, hi, how you guys doing? And her ex-husband's like, yeah, we're breaking up.
Yeah, is he gonna stick to the script?
Yeah, what if he just, like, throws gasoline on that
he goes,
fire?
oh, this is my ex-wife.
I think that's a funny TV episode.
Yeah.
That's a funny TV episode.
I bring my ex-husband.
I bring my ex-husband and he's just like,
he's terrible.
Crapping on everything.
I don't know if I'd have been super comfortable with it. I still think she could have gone alone and made an excuse, but I get why maybe that would have looked weird too. But if we worked out boundaries together, then it could have been okay. And like you said, if only the not running decisions by me, the silent treatment, and making me feel bad for having what turned out to be legit concerns hadn't happened, all of this could have been resolved. However, it's that behavior that's not okay, as everyone here has helped me see. So it's that behavior which concludes my decision. Thank you so much for giving me this perspective and for future understanding. I hope you and your kiddo are doing well now. We do have an update.
Okay.
There were a lot of repeating questions that I didn't answer in the post because it all moved way too quick. So I wanted to answer those now in case those commenters were still wondering. Who filed and did I definitely know they were divorcing? My ex-girlfriend has always made out that she had begun proceedings. Honestly, I don't know for definite that they are, but she did have a few meetings with the lawyer when I was with her, and she'd moved into her own place in March, so to me, all the signs pointed that way. But of course, it may not have been the truth. 2, why would her ex-husband agree to go? This is a solid question, and if I'm honest from what she told me about him, I genuinely don't think he would have. One of the reasons she gave for their marriage collapsing was that he became more antisocial and introverted and stopped wanting to go anywhere and do anything with her. I think that's why it felt worse, because if she was telling the truth about him, she was willing to take someone who had previously, on multiple occasions, said he didn't want to go and do these things. If I'm honest, on reflection, I think that this is an example of her refusing to face reality and clinging onto her old identity. Thank you so much to the commenters who gave me this insight. She just thought he'd agree because previously he probably always begrudgingly has, and she hadn't appreciated or logically thought about the weight of what she would be asking. If it was me, I certainly would have said no, like everyone else said they would too. So on to the update. We split up, which I think is the move.
I think that's fair. There's too many red flags for this to
Yeah.
be a relationship that
Has
like,
longevity.
yeah, you can't build a skyscraper on loose sand.
Yeah.
You know?
No, absolutely. I mean, not only was it just the audacity to say I'm bringing my ex to an event because I don't want to tell people that I'm dating you.
Instead of going
alone.
it's so avoidable.
Absolutely. But then even after that, you have all of this kind of gaslighting OP saying, why are
Yeah.
you upset? It doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, just, not okay.
OP, you're not the bad guy here.
Not the bad guy. Get someone new.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to all the perspectives here, I texted her to say that I hoped she was okay and that the space had given me time to reflect on the situation. I explained that I could see things from her perspective and what her intentions might have been, but that I was hurt that she hadn't felt she could communicate that with me first, as if she had, the outcome might have been different and we could have worked something out. However, I felt her behavior in calling me selfish and the not running decisions by me, etc., was disrespectful and inconsiderate, and that was now my major problem in moving forward with the relationship. She replied to say that if I was going to just bring another source of pain and stress to her life, then I may as well go, because I was still making the whole thing about me and my feelings and not appreciating her not breaking apart at the seams while her life did. So she'd be taking more space until I decided what I wanted. By the way, I want you to listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to the story, but what a response.
Yeah.
To take the fact that you haven't gotten over your previous relationship and are not in the right mental headspace to be in a relationship and blame that on your partner.
Yeah.
It's like, why you didn't have to look for a relationship if you weren't ready for one.
Yeah, it sounded like she either dove into this thing with OP way too early and needed to process whatever was going on with that divorce first. Or it's just red flags.
Red flags. Good job in breaking up.
Yeah.
That was the right move. But OP finishes. Thanks to all of you, I realized how invalidating and again manipulative that was. So I told her we'd make the space permanent and wished her all the best. Her response was just, okay, and asking if she could still use my Netflix password. No. So I changed it. Then she texted again a little while later asking why I'd changed it. And could I put it back because it had locked her out of a show she was watching? I had a good laugh to myself about the irony of decision making without running it by her and didn't respond. On to better things and definite lesson learned for the future in seeing the red flags. Once again, a massive thanks to this community. And that's the end of the story. I got dumped, but I didn't even know I was in a relationship.
Surprise!
I was just dumped a couple of hours ago, but it didn't go how I thought it was supposed to go. In my view, I've been seeing this guy for a couple of months casually. Sometimes we see each other 3 or 4 times a week, sometimes once every 2 weeks. We text, but nothing in depth. We hang out, hook up, sometimes spend the night, and rinse and repeat. I'm paraphrasing what happens today. By the way, this comes from What Even Is My Life 69. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Vincent.
We're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, he wanted to talk, so I met him for breakfast today at his place. He was very apologetic and sad and said, "This has been great getting to know you, but I don't think this is working out anymore." I basically said, "Do you still want to have breakfast?" In my head, I was like, he's ending the casual relationship. It's fine because we had this talk in the beginning about either of us ending it, whatever. He just kept looking at me while we were eating and finally said, "You know, you don't have to hold it in. It's okay to be sad." I was confused, so I said, "Why would I be sad? I enjoyed my time with you. It's ended." He then said, "Well, we were in a relationship, so it's not like ending a hookup." This is where I messed up. I said, "Yeah, but it's a casual relationship." He said, "What do you mean casual? We've been exclusive for over 3 months now." No, we haven't. We never had a talk about being exclusive. We literally only met up to do fun activities and then hook up. When did we decide we were exclusive? My face showed that this was brand new information to me. He said, we kept spending time together. It was implied that we were exclusive. OP says, no, it wasn't. And I told him that. He then asked if I had been seeing other people, to which I was just silent, which basically answered it for him. He started yelling and getting angrier because I wouldn't answer his questions, but I literally felt like I was having an out-of-body experience. It was too much information to process at once. I left because he was now saying I cheated on him. He's now blowing up my phone and saying that we have to talk because he's been loyal while I haven't. I just don't even know what to say. Like, what? We never had a talk about exclusivity. And we've got some comments. Croy says, communication is apparently a superpower nowadays. Robbie R says, this is the perfect scenario for a Seinfeld episode. Raging Flower 580 says, and George is definitely the man in this scenario. Lit Knight says, I just text him, tell him there's nothing to talk about, and his next relationship, you should make it clear and not think because he thinks something is implied that it is. Then block him. Life is too short for drama. Update months later. Do you have any thoughts before we get into the update?
I mean, yeah, he's Costanzaing right now.
He's big time Costanzaing.
Full Costanza. Never go full Costanza.
Yeah, I think OP, you're fine. I think you're in the clear and you just have to cut this guy off.
Yeah.
But we got an update months later. Basically, in the original post, I thought I had a friends with benefits situation with a friend, but he thought it was something more, and when he was dumping me, I found out he thought we were exclusive for 3 months and that us being in a relationship was implied, though we had never talked about being anything other than casual. Just to answer some questions. A, how were we able to see each other so much? We're college students. Our apartments are literally a street apart. We could go over to each other's place all the time whenever we wanted. B, what was the relationship like? We would literally text each other memes or funny things or ask when the other person was free to hook up. There were no in-depth conversations, dates, or anything like that. Sometimes we would hook up multiple times a week, sometimes once in 2 weeks. C, what were the fun activities? Movies, bowling, indoor golf, and just walking on a trail, etc. We're in college and not rich. D, was what was expected discussed? Yes, in detail. Before we started a spicy relationship, we discussed what we expected, the rules, what we wanted, and what we would do if someone changed their mind. We both wrote the rules down in our phone, and the biggest rule was to communicate if something changed for you. How many people were you hooking up with? One other person, believe it or not. I had him and another person. If one was busy, another was usually available. F, did he know you were hooking up with other people? I told him early on I was talking and hooking up with another person, but I didn't explicitly tell him who that person was. I used protection and have been tested for both. After leaving his apartment after the initial posts, we didn't talk for months. I did a semester abroad and he did an internship in another city. When we were both on the same campus again, I messaged him to discuss things. I asked him, did he really think we were in a committed relationship? He said no, though he was down for a friends with benefits. Once he saw me talking to a guy at a bar, he got jealous and didn't want me talking to anyone else. There it is. He's like, I knew it wasn't exclusive. I just wanted it to be, and I made it your problem.
That also, like, they're in college.
Yeah.
I feel like this might be like a first relationship sort of thing, and like a first spicy relationship.
Yeah, probably.
So he might have just gotten a little possessive and got his feelings mixed up in it a bit much.
Yeah, seems so. Why did he act like we were in a committed relationship? Because he wanted to see my reaction. If I was hurt that he was ending it, then he would have changed his mind and given it another chance. Weird way to do that, but exclusively this time. Was he hooking up with other people too? Yes. So he was never exclusive with me and made up the relationship angle as a lie. By the way, you know it's not a lie. Listening to full episodes of stories just like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio, just search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. You got any last thoughts?
I mean, yeah, the kid, he got his feelings hurt because he got a little too into a relationship.
But he was doing the same thing, which is crazy.
Yeah, he was hooking up. I think he wanted to feel special.
Yeah. He's like, I want to be able to hook up with anyone I want, but you're not allowed to do that because it makes me feel angry. And I don't know how to handle my emotions.
Yeah. He needs to realize that other people are people.
Yeah.
With their own lives.
People are people, man.
Yeah, with their own desires.
And they're not all about you.
Mm-hmm.
But we got a little bit left to this story. I honestly panicked in that initial conversation, and I apologized if I hurt him in any way, but until that point, I thought we had both been transparent with each other. Turns out he didn't really like the idea of me hooking up with anyone else but him, and made up this committed relationship. We are now good and back to being platonic friends. Edits. We barely see each other now. I haven't hooked up with him since before the breakup convo and don't ever plan to do it again, since I know there were feelings on his end that I don't reciprocate. I can see what he did was manipulative, but I don't really care to get an apology from him. I will just maintain my distance. I appreciate the concern, though. Comment 1 says, I don't think he was lying in the first place. Sounds to me like he felt stupid. Oh, and said, yeah, I was seeing other people, as an attempt to save face. That's kind of, yeah, that's a good point.
I think that's valid.
Yeah, if he was that upset.
Yeah, that's some fragile ego.
Yeah, he's like, of course, I was hooking up with models.
I'm like so cool. I can get any girl.
Any girl, literally any. I don't even need you. You thought I wanted a relationship with you? That's crazy.
Any girl.
Reply, I'm with you on this. It was probably insanely mortifying to him that she didn't give a single F that he was breaking up with her. Didn't even register it as a breakup. So he invented this weird explanation. Comment 2 says, imagine hearing, I lied to you about thinking we were exclusive. I lied to you about hooking up with other people. I deliberately toyed with your emotions to see if you would react how I wanted you to. We're good? And answering, yep, we're good. Unfathomable. Reply, some people use friends as a catch-all for anyone between intimacy and hate. Reply says, I once mentioned having like 3 friends and the person I was with saying, you have more friends than that. Not the kind who would help me hide a body. It was a dark joke, but my point stands. Comment 3 says, why would she continue being friends after that?
I mean,
I feel like anyone in the sketch group would help hide a body.
Anyone in the sketch group, I think we could make a body to hide. We'll help you make a body, and then we'll help you get rid of that body.
I agree. They would take someone out, and then we'd hide the body.
Yeah, take someone out. Why are we taking them out? Don't need to answer.
Don't tell us. Actually, we don't want to know.
I've been waiting for this.
I'm ready. Reply, I suspect they're only friends in the sense of being able to be at the same party without making things weird. Reply says, and given they live near each other and saw each other a lot, it's probably her way of protecting herself from a dude who clearly has issues. Satisfy his ego and stay off his target list. Terrifying. It is something women have to do to stay safe at times. Reply says, yeah, this is Facebook's fault. Before Facebook, there were friends and acquaintances, like people you knew but weren't friends with or friends of friends. Now everyone is your friend. It's kind of weird. I don't think this is a Facebook thing. I think I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I think they were close. It was convenient. Someone caught feelings, and he's learning how to deal with his emotions about women.
Yeah, I think everyone in the comments is just hung up on the use of friend.
At this point.
People use it pretty,
Just semantics.
Comment 4 says, college, where most people get involved in sloppy interpersonal situations and some learn valuable life lessons. Reply says, I've called college adulting with training wheels, usually the biggest taste of independence yet, but relatively highly structured with clear expectations and designed in a way that pushes people to interact and form relationships. It's often better to F up like this in college rather than later. So true. So true. I loved college. But that's the end of that story, folks. I got a shut up ring, so I walked away.
Surprise, here comes the bride.
This community was a real light for me when I was in the thick of it. And I I'm going to skip this. Okay. I wanted to share my story and hope it finds who it needs to find today to maybe give them encouragement. By the way, this comes from Fantastic Sale 3447, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Vincent.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. Also, I'm no longer with my ex-partner, and I'm also not engaged now, so I don't have it all figured out. I think it's important to share that I'm so happy now, because sometimes I roll my eyes at people who come back to my post about advice only after they've gotten engaged. Here's my story. My ex-partner and I, let's call him Tim, were together for about 9 years. What I couldn't see then, but I can see now, was that there was a pattern of non-commitment from day one. Tim took about a year to commit to being my boyfriend. At the time, I chalked it up to us being young and in college, but the pattern continued. Fast forward to post-grad, and we were both employed and doing really well. Even still, he found excuses. He needed to be promoted first, then was promoted, and then a new excuse would arise. Then he claimed it was money, yet he bought himself a new car and motorcycle. I stood my ground a few times. We would break up, and then I'd backslide and get back together. After 9 years of tug-of-war, we did get engaged, and it was 100% a shut-up ring. I was hopeful that that was the magic trick that would make me feel whole. It wasn't. He wasn't involved in the wedding planning, and everything felt wrong. A lot of other things happened in our relationship, and eventually I called the wedding off. Everything was booked already, and it was really terrifying. The months following, I did feel like I was passing away and having to lose someone I did love, but ultimately knew wasn't the best for me, nor for me. Wasn't the best for me, nor for him. I also worried about losing friends since our friend group was so enmeshed, and losing his family, who I knew so well, all of the things. Healing took a long time. Therapy, good friends, volunteering, and rediscovering who I was through hobbies, being okay to be alone. It took all those things. Also, the key was no contact. Fast forward almost 2 years after breaking off the engagement, I had actually found someone new. I was not looking. It was one of those things I can only now see was a sweet, invisible string waiting for me to find. My ex knew this and showed up to my house to re-propose and brought all the things I had once said would be my dream proposal. It hurt for many reasons. If he wanted to, he would. He's only doing this because he can't have me. He doesn't care about my happiness. He knows I'm healed and moved on and is willing to jeopardize that. All that to say, I stood my ground and denied him and told him I was with someone new. There was a small fear in me to be like, wait, am I going to say no to what I always dreamed of for the potential of this new partner? But then I realized I wasn't saying no for the potential of the new partner. I was saying yes to maintaining this new version of me. This version of me was joyful and liked herself and didn't realize how much that old relationship had made me dull and insecure. So I feel like I broke a curse. I'm no longer obsessed with getting married because I don't see it as something that will validate my worth, but will be something to celebrate my love with my partner. I don't get upset seeing other engagements. I'm overjoyed for them. So yes, now I'm with a lovely person who's got the best version of me, a woman who knows her worth and claims it. I've set high standards and he met them each without me asking. He's even told me about his plans to propose, though I've never initiated that conversation, and I'm not even worrying about it. It's a complete 180. So hopefully I'll have an engagement to share one day. But also if I don't, that's okay, and that's the point. I hope you, if you find yourself not being fully you, fully vibrant, check in on the relationship you're waiting on. They may just be keeping you from the most magical version of yourself, and maybe an amazing partner too, who will be everything you want and more. And there are some comments. Zorvictia says, what is it with men who won't commit in motorcycles? When I was going through it with my ex, he was also like, I make so much money, but I'm not financially stable enough for a ring. I do want to buy a motorcycle soon, though. That doesn't quite make sense.
No.
Also, congrats on getting out of there. It can be hard. Purple Fat Nose says, the fact is that Tim only proposed so he can tell himself, well, hey, I tried my best. She's the problem. before he goes to sleep every night. OP says this: he for sure did it to evade guilt and convince others he was the victim. And update 3 months later. But before we get into that one, do you have any thoughts?
What are your thoughts on marriage?
Just in general?
In general.
I want to get married one day.
Yeah.
But like at like 30 something.
Yeah. When like it's two adults.
Yeah.
And we're like, or not we, but like I'm thinking with me and my girlfriend. We've been together also almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And like we've had these conversations.
Absolutely.
So, like I feel for where you're coming from and like having
Yeah,
that
they were 9 years.
Yeah, but we've also right now it depends on like right now we're both working on like career stuff.
Absolutely.
Life. And then marriage is a celebration of that life at least for me, that life we built together and will continue to build.
Yeah, you want that stability before you look into building something with another person.
Yeah. And I like especially like diving into that young, or I guess they've been together for 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know with the committal stuff. Yeah, that's a red flag if he's not having that conversation, or he's like, oh, I don't want to do it. But he's also
only had it because he thought she was gonna leave him.
Yeah,
because that's not good either. If one person really wants to get married and one person's not ready, and the only reason that you propose is because the other person wants it, then it's also not great.
Yeah, and like I get the like anxiety about money because like looking at divorce rates and everything, money is a issue. Like
Absolutely.
Money is one of the main things that contributes to that. But also, he's buying cars. He's buying like he's not spending it on like
it's not putting in savings or
together.
Anything. Yeah. No, it seems like all of his stuff is to fund his own lifestyle and not a shared one.
Mm-hmm.
So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
Update 3 months later. My fiance, the new partner from the post, proposed to me a few weekends back. It was truly the most magical, surreal thing. He did it on a trip and did it during the beginning of the trip so we could enjoy and celebrate the whole time together. I've been reflecting on how wonderful this dating engagement experience has been. Here are some things I used to believe when I was the waiting for wed version of me, compared to what I believe now. A proposal is synonymous with an engagement. I must conjure up signs and clues that indicate he is going to propose. Proposals can be a surprise, but the engagement shouldn't. I genuinely used to think that a guy would just propose and there was no agreement or understanding beforehand on the process. I'm sure this is the case for some. In my case, we've been informally engaged for some time, and the fun part was having him surprise me with a beautiful proposal. In the prior relationship, I would be left in the dark and clue hunting and tea leaf reading. With my fiancé, we agreed that we wanted to take this next step, and then he asked me how much I wanted to know about the process so we could agree on the surprises. I told him I wanted to know when he got the ring, and when he asked my family for their blessing. Outside of that, surprised me. What I loved about this was he removed any anxiety, and instead it was fun anticipation. Second thing that OP originally thought: getting engaged matters to me, not my boyfriend. It's not something guys care about. What OP knows now: my partner should have just as much enthusiasm as I do about the engagement. Next thing OP thought: my friends and families don't love my partner because they don't get it. Our love is deep and complicated, and it's us against the world. OP now knows: my friends and family will be thrilled when it's the right person. What OP thought originally: my partner isn't good at gift giving or planning. Those aren't his love language, and that's why he hasn't XYZ. And OP now knows, regardless of my partner's love language, they are capable, caring, and value the details because they know it's important to me. Once we get engaged, these issues or that gnawing feeling that this isn't right will go away. Waiting on the ring is our only issue. A ring will not magically change your relationship. But you know what will change your life? Listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to the story, but do you have any thoughts that you can provide about love, relationships, marriage?
Yeah, marriage is what you want. Is what you want it to be. It's not what you want. It's not what other people want it for you. Anything like that. It should be a celebration of what that couple is. What your couple is. Yeah, that's what I can think of at the moment. You?
I agree. I think that I don't think there's ever a rush to get married, but I think you should be having, especially around that time, like after a couple years, I think it's, especially if you're older, like when you're in your 20s or something and it's been like a 4-year relationship, probably have talked about it maybe, but it's like it's coming later. But like it should be talked about, it should be discussed. It shouldn't be something that, is just kind of under the surface festering.
Yeah.
Be on the same page. And maybe, maybe you've talked about like how you guys never want to get married or like get that all out in the open.
Yeah. Also, living together before marriage, thoughts on that?
I personally am big on that. I want to at least, I feel like my timeline, it probably varies, but like after 2 or 3 years of being in a relationship, I'd love to start living with the partner. Depends on, like obviously I live in my workplace, so it might not work out exactly on that timeline. But then I would want to live with my partner for at least 2 years.
Yes.
Before any marriage talk, before getting married or anything.
I agree. I highly recommend living with your partner. That way you guys know each other's, just if your living style is compatible.
Exactly. Because it could be so different. And then you find out. So, I mean, I think you just also find out a lot about a person
and yourself
when you live with them. Just like even with roommates, like you always find, like I feel like people always have crazy roommate stories.
Oh, absolutely.
And you don't usually find that out until after like a year or something of living with that person.
Yeah, because when you move in with someone, it's honeymoon phase.
Yeah, they're perfect
and they're on their best behavior. Spend enough time with someone, go through the darker times, the low times when everything isn't sunshine and rainbows, and they're still your person. Heck yeah.
OP continues. I write all this because, as I said in my original post, I have the biggest soft spot for those waiting to wed. It's an incredibly isolating, confusing, and difficult place to be. I hope this post gives some encouragement and makes them stand up for their worth and wants. I also wanted to share an update because I received so many kind words on my original post and wanted to share how it all shook out. And we do have some comments. Comment 1 says, good for her. Her current partner sounds lovely. Also, now that she's engaged, her ex-boyfriend will probably be married within the next 6 months too. Reply says, even better. He thinks that's going to make OP chase after him once again when blatantly ignoring how indifferent she is towards him for years. Comment 2 says, excellent story and update. I don't know her, but I'm so proud she had the guts to cancel her wedding and walk away when she realized it wouldn't fix a bad relationship and magically give her happiness. Comment 3 says, oh, thank God that she stopped obsessing over getting engaged and getting married. I suspect that was a big part of how her ex was able to string her along. And that is the end of that story.